Welcome back. In this video, we are going to do the implementing transfers. So we are going to implement our next feature, which is the transfer money. Okay. So here, when we click here, the transfer amount, so it should go to the next user. And so we'll see that how we will do that. So let me just go. So we need to attach an event listener to this button. See here, when we inspect this, here we are getting this button class and everything here, right? As I have already selected these items here beforehand here, okay. From button here, as you can see, from button transfer here, button transfer, yeah, as I have already selected those all here. So let me just create here and add a event listener for that here. Button transfer dot add event listener of click, and then here we'll just say function of. So here I'm again using the function event here again, okay. And then here we'll just use the event default of. Okay, when we click that, it shouldn't get multiple times, so that's what we did here. So we just added the event listener for that, and here this prevent default, so this is also a form. So without this, if we clicked here, and that will reload the page. So this is a pretty common to do when we are working with the forms, so preventing the default behavior. So let's now create some input data here based on the input data, and starting with the amount. So the amount transfer is input transfer amount. So let me just create here. So here let me just create constant amount. Here we need this amount number to, it is in the number format, not in the string. So here we'll just say input transfer amount dot value. So we have the account. Now we have to figure out the account to which where we have to transfer. So for that, here we'll just create constant. So receiver account we need, and then here we'll just say input transfer dot value. So input transfer value, we need that. However, that value one alone, so the user alone is not that helpful. So it is only helpful when we use it to actually find the account object to which we want to transfer, all right. So for that, once again, we need the find method. So here we have the constant receivers account, and then here we want our accounts dot find of account to account dot username. Here we are setting this here into this input transfer dot value, okay. And so to recap, here we are looking for the account which has this value here, and that is going to be the username here, okay. Username value, and then we input into that form, so to which we want to transfer. So here we are looking for the account with the username which is equals to debits input at username, and then we select from the account from once more we using the find method here, okay. So we have this data. Let's just check if it is correct by logging to the console here. So let me just say console.log amount, and then here we want a receiver account, okay. So here I'm just entering here. See here, now I'm just doing JD to 200. See here, we are getting the value here 200. It is the one of Jessica Davis here. So let's now see what we have to do in the flow chart here now, as you can see here. So what we'll do is we'll just add a negative movement here, and then to the current user, and then a positive movement to the subnet, and that makes sense, right? So I transfer the 100 to someone, I should lose that 100, and then the other person should receive that 100. Otherwise, we would be just creating a new money, right? So we don't want that. So then we update the UI again. And so we again, the moment summary and the balance, all of that will be affected by this transfer. And now what's missing in this flowchart is that we also actually first need to check some stuff. So we need to check if the amount is actually a positive number, and also we need to check if the current user, so Jonas right now actually has enough money. So should I be able to transfer 5,000 euros? But if here I am only having here some, let's just say 3,000 euros, so it is not possible, right? So let's just implement that check first. Okay, so here we'll just say if amount greater than zero, it shouldn't be negative value, right? And also here, I forgot to mention here, coming to this constant display balance. As you can see here we need to again change like what we did here into the summary. So here we don't want the movements, so we want everything here, right? So we'll just set this to the account. Okay, and then here constant accounts dot movement, here we'll just set that. And also down here we don't want the movements, we want the whole array, so we'll just set that. Okay, don't worry about this error. So we just left here this one, right? So it is popping up, we'll just do come back to that in a while. Here we have taken the movements from the account object, and then we can add that into the account balance. As you can see here, we'll just do that. See this one here, we don't need the account balance here, so we'll just directly add it here to the account balance. And also here we need to change this to account.balance. So when we save this now, so what we have written here is, as I just said, the amount needs to be greater than zero, otherwise it could be a negative transfer. So basically transfer money to ourselves. So this needs to happen, and also the balance of the current amount needs to be greater or equals to the amount that we are just trying to transfer. And now this balance value here is not stored anywhere. As you can see here, we just changed here right now this constant display balance here. So in this place we just calculated the balance, so that's right here, cal display balance. So what we did here is to calculate it and then display it immediately on the user interface, and we did not save it anywhere. So in order to save that, we actually changed that here on to the user interface. So we want this to be saved in the account. So how do we get the access to the account? So we'll do the same what we did here with the previous summary here we did here, right? So the same thing here we did for this calculate display balance as well. Okay, and so then we'll be able to read the movements here from the account, and also we'll be able to then create a new property on that account with the balance. Okay, so let's just go down here and continue writing here our code. So we are just checking here the amount, right? And then after the amount here we will check if the current account dot balance is now equal to amount, and then here we'll receive account dot username current account dot username. So what we just written here was, so this here it checks if the amount is greater than zero in this condition, and then here we are checking current user needs to have the enough balance, and also here we are just checking we should not do the transfer money to our self account. Okay, so for that we are just setting this here the constraint, and then here we'll just say, and now we want to check if the receiver's account is existing or not. So if it doesn't exist, it makes no sense to send the transfer money, right? So let me just add it here after this amount here. So after this here, let me just add it. receiver's account. So it should check if it is available or not. And we could do some optional chaining, as we could say here. So for now, we could just turn this here off. We could just check that here is as well. Okay. And now let me just check. So here we are entering now. See, we are entering here right now. So we will check these three cases. So we'll just transfer the money to Jessica Davis here. So when we transfer here the amount 0, see it doesn't work. Okay. And then here when we transfer here more than what we have, like 5,000 right now. Okay. And okay. Right now when we transfer here 500, see here we are getting the transfer is valid here. So try to do the random transactions. So try to do random transaction, it still works. So for example, here if you just say some random transfer to some guy, see here it's still getting undefined, but still here you are getting the transfer valid. So it is a bug here. So right now we'll just go ahead and fix this bug. So for that, we simply just need to check if the account receiver's account is present or not. So when we run this, so the bug is fixed. See now when we run, okay, so right now we'll just say some random number and here we'll just say 500. See here 500 undefined, so here no transfer is not valid, it didn't go anywhere. So okay, so right now here we'll just say for example JD 500. Right now, see here now the transfer is valid. Okay, so from the flowcharts right now here we'll do these two steps here, the add negative and add positive. We'll just do that. So we'll do that here. So we'll just remove this and then here we'll just say doing transfers. So here we'll just set current account dot movements dot push. Here we are just pushing here into negative amount. Okay. So here we'll just push receivers account dot movements dot push of amount. Okay. So here we are just debiting the amount. So when we click here the transfer, so here the amount should be debited and here it should reflect. So that's what we did here. Okay. So let me just save this here. And after we did this, and also now we want to update the user interface. Now we need to refactor all of this code into one function because so we want to use this one again in our code. So we don't want to do that. So what we'll do is we'll just simply copy this and remove this from here. Okay. Because in our code, I don't want to write the code multiple times. So to update, so what we'll do here is, so here we'll just say update UI of current account. Okay. So after removing all this, so above here, now here I'll just create a function for that. So for that constant update UI equals to function of account, and for this account I'm just simply putting this whole thing in here. Now we can call this function wherever we want. Okay, so as I have already called this here, so it is to update UI. So we did that here, and we'll simply just want this again to be pushed here. So when we run this, so it works. And then now we'll just simply just go ahead and log in. Okay, now we'll do the JD, which is 400. See here, now it UI got updated, 400 debited, and then you can see here withdrawal as well. Now here we'll just see here the ins, outs, and everything got changed here. And now we'll just go to the JD, Jessica Davis. See here, we got the deposit reflected here, and then this transfer is also working perfectly fine. And now what we'll do is, so here we don't want after the transfer we are hitting, so we don't want this JD and 400 to be reflecting to be seen. So we will just do that. So here we'll just remove this console.log, and then here we'll write the code here for not to reflect these things here. So for that here we'll just say input transfer amount dot value to input equals to input transfer to dot value. Here we'll just set simply this to empty. Okay, like which we did here for this user and pin, if you remember. So when we save this, now let me just write this here. So we are logging in here. Okay, so let me just show you here. So we are just transferring here just even here some 1000. Okay, see here 1000 was debited, and then we will just go to STW. And also if you notice here, this one got disappeared right now. And then when you come here, see 1000 was deposited. And if you just simply reload this page, see here it again, when we see here STW, see here there is no 1000 which was deposited, because when we refresh, so our data input here, it is taking from these values here, so it is getting by default these values. And don't worry about that, in future, in next coming up, we'll just do that as well. So for now we are done with the implementing the transfer here, so this works perfectly fine. So that's it for this video.